I think we're good.
I'm so wasted, man.
How's it going? Welcome back to ROBOTBOY. I'm joined by ShoreTea,
Boom.
who is a Twitch streamer, if you don't know already. And I'll leave all the links to all his channels and all of that stuff in the links below. You should definitely go and check him out. He does great streams. Loads of different games, loads of content, and one game in particular he's been doing recently is Red Dead Redemption 2.
2.
The second one, yes. Yeah. He's not that far behind.
Oh, no.
So today, this is the first of potentially a series, but for now it's just a standalone. And we're going to be talking about the game, discussing our thoughts on it, and just having a chat and letting you guys be like a fly on the wall to our discussion, because it'll probably end up becoming ridiculous at some point.
I'm super excited. I'm going to try and hold my tongue so I don't go overboard. It's an amazing game.
Yeah, so I'm going to even time us talking because we might go on for so long. So, right, I'm going to give us 10 minutes per topic. So, we're going to start off firstly with the story. Okay, the story in Red Dead Redemption 1 was so integral to it. It was a massive change from the GTA series of like really wacky, ridiculous. It went really serious, and they kind of did that here from GTA 5 back to Red Dead 2.
Yeah, and it went really slow paced compared, but then much more story filled.
Yeah.
So even though like the main difference I see between GTA and Red Dead is GTA is fast paced action like when you want it, whereas Red Dead is a bit more paced and slow, but then you build up to every part that you want to get to.
Yeah.
And I feel like that adds a lot more to the experience, because you know, oh, I'm going to get to that point, I'm excited. The ride there on your horse is a lot of like, oh, I can't wait, it's getting there.
Because some people weren't happy with the whole how slow it was. No. Like for some people it just was not part of like their taste. It was too slow. Yeah. I thought there were points where it bordered on, like sometimes I'd only have like half an hour to play, and I'd spend like 20 minutes of that half an hour riding, which in some cases it was a bit of a pain, but generally I just loved, like once you accepted that was it and you get on the train essentially of that's what the game is about, it's just so well done. You
just need to kind of allocate a bit more time. As like the way I look at it is if I want to get somewhere, I've got to allocate time for riding, allocate time for being on the floor after falling off my horse, and allocate a bit of time of stopping off at random points for random events. Yeah. And then maybe 10 minutes for story.
That's it. So in terms of the story, we won't go into spoilers just yet. Maybe in like a few minutes, we'll just sort of do a general overview. If you do want to skip the spoilers for the story, go to this time. And then a little time thing pop up. Yeah, the magic of editing. But okay, wait, no. I should have done that. Hang on. No, this is the spoiler-free bit, so... Wait. Yeah. Hold on.
Stay here.
And then skip in a bit. Anyway, so don't worry for now. We'll let you know when the spoilers are coming. So, there were so many characters in this game, and somehow all of them I managed to feel for. And I think when I went into this game, I was like, you're not playing as John Marston. Like, this new guy, he'd probably be okay, but he might not be as good as John Marston. And now, I just think I
favour him.
I do, too. Yeah. He's got so much more depth to him. Yeah. And he's like a cuddly bear.
Yeah. He's brilliant. Yeah. I felt a bit sceptical going in, because there was so many characters. When I was looking at Google, I was trying to get as much info, like absorb it all before I could play the game without spoiling it for myself. And I thought, a crew or a posse of 25 people, how am I going to like these? Like, I'm not going to get to know them. It's going to be like, do one quest with this geezer and then off you go somewhere else. So I'm never going to see him again. But each one, they give so much life to, and it's like, I feel like I spent a lot of time with everyone, but I know all their stories, but I really wanted to spend more time with each person. Yeah. Not because I didn't know enough about them, but because I liked them so much.
It was like a soap opera in the end. It was like returning characters, and I honestly I smashed the game out. I think you were the same. Like I was banging it out as much as I could, and then I like checked the completion percentage, and it was like 12%. And I was like, what? How much more is left of this game?
30 hours into the game, and I'm like, I've done 10, 12%. I'm like, what is going on here?
It was so, like, it was great. I think it's the way to do it. Like, if you're going to tell a story, like, tell it. Like, don't cut it off or make it shorter.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
I mean, you can see where the money has gone from GTA into this and why it's taken them so long to make this game.
I was waiting a long time for it to release because I know it gets annoying when they delay, but then when it finally gets there and it's like there's no more delays, it's here tomorrow, and it's like,
I forgot they even delayed it.
So did I.
Twice as well. Because some games they get delayed and it's like the biggest news story of the year, whereas like this was delayed by, it was supposed to come out last autumn, like 2017. And then it was spring this year, and then it was this year. And I just think every time it happened, I was just like, they know what they're doing. I knew I was like,
it's Rockstar.
You take your time.
Yeah. It's because like with Rockstar, you know you're going to get a good game. Because they have Bully, they have Red Dead, they have GTA. They have so many good reviews and like gameplays and, you know, streams on all of these video games they've got. And I know if they want to take a bit more time releasing a game, as much as it might annoy me at the time, it's got to be done because you want the best experience you can get.
They seem to deliver the definitive game of the generation.
Yeah.
Each time.
Each platform, and
Yeah. Like I said this in my Game of the Year video earlier. I said like God of War. So I voted God of War as Game of the Year over Red Dead Redemption 2 because I think like this year God of War was Game of the Year, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is Game of the Generation. I don't know what else coming out in the next year is going to top it. Even though you got Last of Us, like there's nothing's going to have this level of depth to it.
Yeah, and especially considering the fact it's got 8 years of production behind it. And you're not going to get another Red Dead in likely 8 years. Yeah, and it's going to be PS6 or PS7 by the time that comes out. Unless they do like a remaster of Red Dead 1 at some point in the future, we're not going to see another Red Dead.
That's it.
And I think the main focus until then will be Red Dead Online updates and just making sure that keeps running. Same as they did with GTA 5. I think they released in 2013 on PS3. And then 2 years later, I think it was.
Yes. 1 year later.
1 year later, they released on PS4. And then I think it might have been 2015 for PC.
Yeah, that's right.
So they released a couple of remasters on that. So we might even see a PC release of Red Dead Online. Red Dead 2.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
But keeping in mind, compared to GTA 4 released on PC, whereas Red Dead 1 didn't. And like, so we might not see this IP release on PC, but you know, one can hope.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna delve into spoilers of the story because it's hard to talk about the story. Yeah, it's hard to properly summarize the characters in the story without sort of talking about where they end up because that's all part of it. So
and the build up towards it.
Okay, so this is the spoiler section of the story. If you want to skip this and go ahead to another bit, then feel free.
Or you can pause the video now and go complete your game and come back.
Yeah, that's true. You can go and do that. Okay, so I mean, let's just cut right to the chase. We're going to do spoilers. Yeah. So Arthur's ending.
I'll be honest. I cried when I played.
Yeah, no,
I did tear up. And
I cried 3 times. I'm not gonna lie.
I think
3 times.
Yeah.
What did you cry?
The definite one.
When did you cry? Let's compare notes of when we cried.
So definitely the horse death.
Oh god.
It was.
Oh man.
I got my horse. I think it was basically chapter 2 after you unlock free roam.
Yes. Yeah.
Went and got my horse.
So you had your horse like the whole time. Yeah.
I had my horse the whole time. Named it Tetley because ShoreTea. I couldn't name it Tips. Couldn't, Tips. And then Tetley's was just my second thought. So and it was a female. If it was male, probably Earl Grey or something like that.
That's a cool name for a horse.
It is a cool name, especially for like a smoky white horse that you find in the mountain. But either way, so the horse death, I've seen it die millions of times. I've reloaded to save, but this one was real. There was no coming back from this horse death.
Yeah.
And
when he leans over, like it's like that somber moment, and you're like, no, they haven't gone and done it, and he's like, thank you, and I was like,
it's like, there you go, girl.
Yeah, it's all right, girl.
Or if it was a guy, there, boy.
Yeah.
But it was ruthless, and I thought, I guess it had to be done. Otherwise, why not just hop on it and just like bounce?
Yeah. It was amazing that they predicted that the player would bond emotionally with their horse that much, that killing it off as a character, because they could have easily have just. It could have just, you just get off your horse at one point and you never see it again.
On the arse and off it goes.
It goes, and you never see it again, and you still have Arthur's story. Like, they could have done that, and it would have still been really emotional. But the fact that they like treat the horse as a character,
and it stuck with him until the end. It was like the loyal, the loyal bond you got between a best friend and his horse. Yeah, and it was difficult to see him go.
It was good. It was so well done, and that was the point where you were really like. It's all going downhill from here. Like
it doesn't bode well.
Yeah, and then you've got you have the options, right? You go save John or go and get the money. Now, which one did you do?
So I went to save John.
Okay, you went to save him.
I had to, man. He's my boy. He's my boy.
Yeah.
Let's go get him, man. Like, I couldn't just leave him for the money, even though I know he's in Red Dead Redemption 1. It wouldn't have felt the same to me if his last and only friend and partner in crime or in the posse goes away at the end, and it's like he had to be with him till the end. And I thought, I think I've picked well.
It was good. It was a good moment of choice. And so I think you mentioned something about your honor system, right?
Yeah. So I googled it just before I finished, before my ending. I googled what the dream sequences meant with the animals.
Yeah. Because I had the deer.
You had the buck or the deer,
buck the whole way through, and I was just like. What does it mean? It was beautiful, but I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, and I had the wolf all the way through. I wasn't bad on her, but I wasn't good. I was just below medium, so I was in the bad section. Yeah. But I thought, much like you, I didn't know what it meant. My personal opinion was that I thought everyone would see this wolf, much like you probably thought everyone would see your buck. Yeah. I thought the wolf was the impending illness, his tuberculosis creeping up on him like the death, basically foreshadowing death. Yeah, I thought that's what it was. So I googled it thinking I didn't Google it thinking what does this mean. I googled it thinking how did others perceive this? What did they think it meant? Yeah. Then found out that the animal you get is dependent on the honor system you have, your honor level. Yeah. And interestingly enough, even though I was in the middle, fairly middle the whole way through, I never actually went above good or above the middle just before a sequence. So I always saw the wolf. That is until the end. So I think, I don't know if it's, if you're at the very bottom, if it will bring you back up enough to the middle to give you the buck. Yeah. Or if it's just because I was near the middle, it put me above it. Yeah. So I don't know if, because of this, saving John gave me a bit of honour. It gave me the buck sequence at the end, and as he's laying there, looking to the sunset, and then it cuts to the dream sequence. There was a buck for me, and I thought, oh God, like that bit made me tear up. Yeah. So I think I cried 3 times as well.
He did redeem himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Red Dead Redemption, and it was like I teared up obviously when Arthur died and looked out to the sunset. Yeah. And then I started crying, like full on bawling when the buck shows up, and I'm like, I've changed my ways. I'm no longer a mediocre sort of
villainous guy,
grey area villain. I redeemed myself, and seeing the buck jump off into the sunset afterwards, I was like, wow, and it was beautiful. Good. And as I said, I don't know if that's just because I was near the middle of honor when that happened, or if because I saved John, whether I was all the way at the bottom or just in the middle, that would have been a redemption.
Oh, like whichever choice, like if you chose to go back and get the money.
So I don't know if it's a 50-50, whether it's money or him that will get the wolf or buck.
Either way, it felt beautiful. Story,
And I think it really tied up my Arthur character at the end. Yeah, that bit.
I just thought it was just great. Like, and then you had the reveal that it was Micah all along. And you see it devolve, like it starts evolving, and the Hobbit with eagle flies and the natives was so great. And I loved how early on you could tell which of the characters in the camp were like the really good ones and which were the ones who were a bit snaky.
Yeah, to watch out for.
And obviously you knew, if you played the first game, obviously you knew that Bill and Javier and obviously Dutch would all team up. Well, not team up, but would all pick a side. Yeah. So, but then it was like, okay, those three are definite, but who else in this group? What happens to the rest of them? Well, I mean, from the start, I was kind of like, Arthur must die, surely.
Yeah, I thought he'd either die or he'd get out of the life, and he'd be the one. And he'd be the only one in the posse who gets away, apart from Tilly.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I think it could have been cool. Like, I thought when he started to get the illness, I thought, right now this can go two ways. He'll die of the illness, or he'll escape, have a slow life at the end, and then die on his own.
I feel like he deserved that.
Yeah,
he deserved to be with Mary. And it was great, and you had like Sadie, who became an awesome character.
Oh yeah, the widow you thought would never get anywhere.
Yeah,
she was the main.
She's
leading force.
Yeah, and then Charles, who I think he was my favorite character in the game. Charles, I just thought his history was great, like his backstory, him as just a person. I really believed he was a person, you know. And like he taught you all the bare essentials. Was just a great guy who actually like trusted. Oh yeah. And I liked the bits as it was all going downhill.
You could tell where his morals stood.
Yeah, and like you know there would be scenes, and Arthur would be like obviously torn between Dutch and what he should do, and Charles is just like he's like on a level with him, and he's like, Arthur, like I'm with you. We need to, you know, I'm with you to the end. We need to
figure out where we are.
Yeah, he was always like the level-headed guy who was like, don't worry, like we can sort this out. And he stayed. The fact he stayed and lived to the end as well, and he got out and lived. I was so happy.
And I liked seeing him again. You know, going back into Saint Denis with Uncle, and then you walk into a back alley, and he's like big, beefy.
Oh my god!
And he's fixing
what a tank.
Yeah, and he's rigging fights in the back, and it's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, just walks in.
He's got his really long hair at that point. Like, oh man.
And then even then, he's stuck with Charles. Sorry, he's stuck with John.
Yeah.
And like he was repaying his debt to Arthur.
That sense of family, and that's what I mean. Like Arthur was such a good character that all of those characters and John's story afterwards, it made it even more impactful because John's story is owed entirely to Arthur. Yeah, like without Arthur committing and being like, you know, saying to Sadie and saying to Charles, if anyone gets out of this, it needs to be John and his family. Yeah, and then when you are playing as John in that final epilogue sequence and it leads up, which I thought was fantastically done, and didn't think they'd go that far. I thought you might play as John at the end. Yeah, I didn't think they'd go as far as to literally end it where the first game starts.
I think they really tied into their details there.
Yeah, and like just little bits, nods to Arthur, enough to be like, okay, there's a reason why they didn't talk about him in the first game at all, but enough to be like, they recognise it was him that got them to where they were, and it was like little touches that he really... So John gives Abigail Arthur's ring, right?
He proposes to her with Arthur's ring.
Yeah. So even that, that's a massive symbol of how significant Arthur was to that story.
And that's the ring that I believe Mary sends it back in a letter.
Yes.
And so he keeps on to it, keeps in the satchel along with his other things that that John inherits. Yeah. So to say. Yeah. And he proposes with Arthur's ring, which is not only meaningful to him, but to Abigail as well, because they were all part of the same posse. Yeah. And I thought that really shows everyone's bond.
It was just fantastic story writing at the end of like everything tying together. It was great. Like as a Western tale, it had everything you wanted in it, and it had like deceit, deception, twists, turns, like loyalty, it was family, like revenge,
action scenes, train robberies, horses,
everything you wanted. That bit, like, but the bits when you were the gang were also like the bit where you're walking up to the plantation field house, just as the gang, and the bit where you're all together. You're just like, oh man.
I'll be honest. When I did that scene, I changed the third person for the walk down, first person for when I'm doing the actual mission. Yeah. and I only walked.
Yeah.
I didn't run, didn't jog anywhere. I walked around.
Yeah.
Kicked open doors, shotgunned people. I had to do it as it's
so well good. Done.
And then the scene as well when you're running down to the I think it's the oil fields.
Yes.
With eagle flies.
Oh my god.
And Dutch is like, I think he tries to send Arthur and John on their own.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he was trying to send us to our death.
I think he was. Because
always, at the end, towards the end of the story, he always said Arthur with John.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because he was trying to get rid of us or hoping we end up gone.
Yeah.
But either way, that sequence when he says Arthur and John, and then everyone else is like, no, I'm with Arthur.
Yeah.
It's like,
Eagle flies
yes, you are.
He's like, yeah, Arthur's like, he's like, you guys go, and Eagle flies around. He's like, no, we ride with you. I was like, oh, and then you ride down the hill, and they're all like shooting the arrows, and you're just like, I was like giddy at that point. I was like, oh.
When they all said we ride with you, I just wanted to look at Dutch like,
yeah, just riding until like,
yeah, it's easier.
So that bit and the other bit that made me super like giddy was when, this is more like nostalgia's sake, but like when you play as John, he puts his classic cowboy outfit on from the first game.
When you're leaving the ranch,
you go to like get revenge on that other ranch that have just attacked yours. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a camera angle where you're in the barn. It's the last guy.
Oh yeah.
And the camera angle, so John picks up a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah.
And the camera angle is in exactly the same position. It says press R2 to shoot. Right. Yeah, and it's the front cover artwork of the game is him.
I've read them one.
It's him holding the sawed-off shotgun like that.
Yeah. Or was that Red Dead 2? Which cover art?
Both.
Oh, both.
One's of Arthur holding a revolver. The second
I see. Right.
The first game is of
one
John Marston holding
the shotgun.
Yeah, and the camera angle is exactly the same pose as the front cover artwork.
No way.
And he's holding the sawed-off shotgun in exactly the same pose, putting in the same phase. And then it says press R2 to shoot, and it's almost like they were like, this is the point where John Marston becomes the solo John Marston cowboy, like outlaw. And I was like, for me, I like clocked that, and I was like, that is so clever.
Yeah.
And so like, such a small detail, just having the camera angle there.
Yeah.
But for someone like me who like clocked it, I was like, that was everything. Like, yeah.
In the same vein, when Agent Ross and Agent Milton visit Arthur and Jack Marston when they're fishing by the river.
Yeah.
It's the same camera angle as when Jack visits Ross and kills him by the river in Red Dead 1. And it's like basically you're there, Arthur and Jack.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my god, Jack's in Ross's position in Red Dead 1.
Yeah. That
flips. And he comes back in Red Dead 1.
Yeah.
And does that duel with Ross after confronting him.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you have like baby Jack who becomes the ultimate survivor essentially
of the posse, of
everyone.
Basically everyone, yeah.
And you've got Arthur there who's like the guy that kicks it.
Yeah. That basically helped John and Jack escape.
Incredible. All right. We're going to wrap that up for the story now. And we're now going to move on to gameplay mechanics. Okay, so moving on. That was about story. We could have gone for longer, but we're going to try and keep it short so this doesn't go on for hours and hours. So let's move on to gameplay and the world, this incredible world that Rockstar have created. So where do we even begin with that?
I find it hard trying to figure out where they began. Like, if you're trying to make a game like that, so at what point, like, when do you say, okay, we're done with the floor, let's go to the mountains, or let's go to the trees? It's like, but trying to talk about it, I guess, the fact that everywhere you can see is accessible, that's a big thing about that. And it's not like GTA where you can fly there in a plane and get there in 2 seconds like that. It's like, it actually feels like it's really far away because you have to get on your horse, you have to make preparations and make the journey, and it feels like such a massive world. And they spent, as you say, that actually GTA is a good comparison. Like, there were the different destinations in GTA, but it was never really about the journey between them. No. Whereas Red Dead is like the path between A and B is the fun in the game. Yeah. Most of the time, like traveling,
all those. I don't even know how many, if you actually were to count it, of those random encounters. There are.
The random encounters, the stranger missions, the like you might find a legendary animal. Like we were doing it just earlier. We found a legendary animal when we were just trying to show our friend the game. Yeah. Suddenly, let's go hunting. Like, see what pelt we can get, or see how much we can find. Yeah, and like you go down the rabbit hole of like,
if I could get this one thing for the trapper, and then you go hunting for the pelt, but then to do that, you've got to go to the gun store first to get the right ammo, and you've got to make sure you're in the right location. Maybe you've got to ride somewhere, so you've got to like stock up on supply. So one simple thing just turns into thinking about everything, and it could have been really boring.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It could have been a really boring game on paper. That's boring.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be doing that. Real life. Like I don't
want to travel for hours and hours.
And yet somehow they make it like just everything just short enough and just quick enough to do that it's enjoyable, and you feel like an instant gratification for doing all these things.
And comparing it to GTA again, the fact that you said it's not about the journey in GTA. So if you were to drive miles and miles, you're not going to come across anything on the way. It's just going to be 5 miles away.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Where, like, even if you come across an animal, you can't do anything with it. You can shoot it dead if you want, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think, if I remember right, there weren't any animals online.
Not GTA? Online, no.
So bare bones world with nothing to do in the journey. Whereas on Red Dead, it's like, I'm going to go here, and then suddenly you're sidetracked for like 2 hours because you find so much cool stuff on the way that you want to try out and do. And I think the fact that not only have they made a massive world, but they've also inhabited it and made it like intimate, it really adds to that, and must have been difficult to do.
I know, like back to what you were saying, where did they start, where did they end? Because it's like they're in my brain when I'm playing the game, and I think you always play games and you think like, that'd be really cool, imagine if they'd just done that, and yet in this game they do it, like they go that one step further, and they've thought of that thing that would have realistically happened in the world with the characters and the scenario, and it comes back like 2-3 days later to affect your character, and I'm like, how did they even think of this and write it and animate it and script it and like,
and even 3 days in real time as well. Like you said about the character who you saved from a snake bite, and then you come back again and he's giving you a free item on his tab at the gun shop. So when I did that as well, I didn't do it in the same session. I don't know if you did or not, but I saved my game after that, like somewhere after that point. Came back to the game a couple of days later, started exploring. Suddenly, my actions from 2 days ago are coming back to me, and it's like, that's pretty cool. Like the fact that you can do anything in that world and it will have consequences, good or bad, and in however long time, there's something to come back from it.
Yeah, like even and the multitude of ways that stuff can unfold. Like when we were playing just earlier. And that prisoner came up to us on the road, and he says, can you free me from my shackles? So I just shot the chains of him, and I was like, oh, that's that encounter over. And then you said, oh, did you know that if you tie him up, take him into town, take him to the sheriff's, but you can actually you
can give him back in and get a different reward from it, or a reward.
Yeah, you get a reward for it. And I'm just like, I personally didn't think to do that, but that's a very logical thing to do in the world. And they thought, if someone did this, there should be a real consequence to this happening.
Because you think about, if you hogtie someone in the city or whatever, and you ride around with them on the back of your horse, you get wanted. Like, people are like, oh, kidnapping. So you wouldn't think to bring a prisoner hogtied back in, but because he is a prisoner, you don't get that consequence of, oh, there's a kidnapper. Like, they think you're actually bringing back a criminal. And it works pretty well in that essence.
There was rarely a time where something was happening and I thought, oh, that wouldn't happen because of X, Y, or Z. There was like, all the factors in whatever scenario I was in made sense. Like the scene was, whatever was happening was based off of the factors. Like you say, like that. Like if it was a prisoner, it knew that it was a prisoner, so everyone responded correctly to that thing. There was no
It's not like a set, oh my god, someone on the back of a horse kidnapped. Like, no, they think, actually, you know what, that guy's wearing a prisoner outfit, like overalls. Maybe he's supposed to be on the back of that horse. Like, it actually works like that. And it's impressive.
It's unbelievable. And actually, I think this is a good point to lead into online. We'll save our funny moments for the end. But I think talking about this, these points is a good way to go into online, because it's all of these gameplay systems and mechanics that they've got in single player, the camp system, the hunting system, upgrading your character, upgrading your horse, everything like that. Kitting out, provisions.
Finding, even exploring to the bare bones of it.
So, you know, how is all that going to translate into online? And as of recording this video, which is the 20th of November, we have no information.
There's no trailer, no information about what's going to happen. I think we've had very questionable leaks, and I think there's been a couple words, much to the effect of, listen, it's coming, but some point in November.
Yeah.
But like, I think including in one of the leaks, as we were just talking about, the lassoing and the hog tying, I think if the leak is correct, if we can believe it, you can't hog tie or lasso other players, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it makes sense considering you could easily get trolled, hog tied, and left for dead.
Because you get tied up.
And that'd be really frustrating. But I feel like that misses out on a lot of fun moments between you and friends.
Yeah.
So my thought process on that and how they could improve it is, if they, much like a passive mode, if they have a lasso mode, you can turn that on or off. If it's on, you can't get, or if it's off, wherever, you can't get lassoed, and you can't lasso other people. Passive mode, like passive mode, passive mode, Like if it's on, you can't lasso other players, and they can't lasso you. And if it's off, you can. But then, of course, they'd have to add some kind of protective mode of, like, you can be lassoed for a few seconds, or there's a sort of mini game to escape. Like, because you're going to have a knife on you, like to cut the rope, or if you are hog tied, you know, give you a 10-15 second mini game to cut the ropes off your back. And I think if they maybe thought about it, and, you know, properly prepared for those situations, rather than just prevent it completely, they could add a lot more fun stuff. But again, it's only a leak. We don't know for sure what's happening, or even if it's gonna happen. But just things like that, I think, could be interesting to incorporate.
So based off of the trophies, I think the trophies are sort of the biggest hints we have, the only hints almost that we have to what could potentially be in the online. Aside from that, we have nothing. And even then, it's kind of, even they aren't sort of set in stone. They raise questions themselves about, you know, how is it going to work. So sort of pretty much concrete. All we know is you start off breaking out of prison of some sort.
So there's
the tutorial.
There's a tutorial called Breakout. As far as we know, we either break out of a prison, or if we were to believe a recent leak again, you break out of a prison wagon. You know, like much how they have the little cells on the back. You break out of one of them, because that's a screenshot that's been leaked. From the social club feed. So you know, when you finish an achievement, like your social club feed will update. That's the picture that they claim is related to Breakout. So could be something to do with the prison. Could be something to do with the prison wagon. Other players have speculated the prison in Mexico you break out of, but again, no one knows.
I thought my theory is that it's the prison that John breaks out of in the story on the east side,
the penitentiary,
by Saint Denis.
That would make sense as well.
So even that one thing is still like, what does it? How does it work?
What happens? Like,
where do you go? Who's the first person you meet?
Do you break out alone? Do you break out with someone? Does someone break you out?
Right. Who's your Lamar? You know, like GTA 5, you meet Lamar at the airport, and he kind of introduces you to the world of online. Who's that character in this world?
Exactly.
When's it set? Like, is it, because in GTA 5 online was set before the story. Now, is this set at the same time as this current Red Dead 2 story? Is it set before?
And spiral along off of that. If it is, like, depending on what time it's set, who are the NPCs that are in your story? Is Arthur Morgan a character in your story, or is he a known criminal who is in the world, but you never see him? You just heard of him, like the Blackbeard of you know, the world, the Wide West. Like, who's in the story for online?
But I mean, I think one of my theories is that the different gangs that are introduced throughout the story, so the O'Driscolls, the Lemoyne Raiders,
the Skinners,
the Murphy Brood, all those guys, they, you know, I think they'll play a core part of it, and maybe you're introduced to more prominent characters who you sort of brushed over in single player. Not brushed over, but were introduced. But obviously there wasn't too much on them. Maybe there's more. They provide you with the ongoing missions. Yeah. Maybe for for example, the O'Driscolls give you robbery missions. The Line Raiders give you like raiding missions.
Raiding missions. Yeah.
So maybe that's how that could work.
Yeah. Or maybe there's a new posse introduced for online, and they're new. Well, they're not new per se, but they were unknown in the single player, and in online they make themselves known. Or you're just a part of an unknown posse who are trying to make a name for themselves but can't get anywhere, and you're that turning point. That could be one of the situations. So there's a lot to think about with online, and I wish they'd give us more information. So
I
far.
know, because I'm not one to speculate, but it's there's so much that could happen, and I don't want to just have all these crazy ideas of how it could work, because it's not even like we're being ridiculous, because I'm basing it off of the single player, which blew my expectations every single time, and I had really high expectations. So it's almost like if I went into the online without having insanely high expectations, I'd be silly. But then I also don't want to get it completely wrong
and be
disappointed or something's not in there. Another theory I had when I was riding around in the epilogue was I found a new build house, one of those pre-cut houses on this open bit of lawn, and it wasn't purchased. It said for sale, and I was like, what is this? I went up to it. You could go in it. It was empty. There was just open land around it. And I thought, is this a hint to online that you can purchase property? Because there is a trophy about camping, upgrading
your camp. So we know camps are involved in some way, whether or not that's actually your housing or if it's just an outer world or overworld, we call it, situation. Overworld being not in a phase or not in a sort of closed environment like an apartment in GTA. Overworld being the open world you can explore. Is it part of that, or is a camp closed off to players who own the camp? There's so many questions I need answers.
Yeah.
Rockstar.
My ideal scenario for online would be you're part of a persistent posse where, let's say there's 6 of us, including you and me.
Yeah.
And we're playing, the 2 of us, we're upgrading our camp, and 4 other people aren't playing that night, but they log on after we've logged off. They see the stuff we've upgraded. They can
see our
camp.
progress, and
they can update. They can do missions, upgrade the camp. They log off, then we log on the next day again, and we've seen
how far they've come after.
And that keeps going. That would be great. And in the same way I was speaking about the sort of instances for the camps.
Yeah.
In your lobby that you're in at the time, if there are specific camp spots around the world, like how there are in single player, they move from camp to camp. Obviously, I imagine there'll be more online. In your lobby, your camp is put in with other people who are camped in other of the predefined spots.
So you're not merging with anyone?
No. So you'd be like, you're in a lobby, and anyone else whose camp is in that lobby can't be in your lobby. Yeah. And that way you can go to the other camps, maybe raid them.
Yeah.
Maybe, but there were leaks.
Have a glass of whiskey with a fellow camp member.
That would be good, because the idea that it's not always about just shooting the first person you see, like what GTA essentially turned into was just you see anyone near you and you just shoot them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'd like there to be some sort of etiquette to Red Dead.
I know they have confirmed that there will be some sort of anti-grief system. Don't know how far it will work or how it even works, but from one of the leaks, again, this isn't confirmed, we have heard that if the same player kills you several times in a row, there is an option to call the law on them. And I don't know to what effect this law has. As do they hunt them down till they're dead? Do they hunt them down several times? Or do they just get a wanted level and become wanted and you can kill them for the bounty?
Yeah.
Like, to what extent does the anti-grief work? Or is there even an anti-grief? But hopefully there's some sort of role-play element in the game where it's like, I walk into a saloon, there's players there doing the can-can like in the Lenny mission, and I'm like, I'm going to join in this can-can, like, yo, what's up, guys? And they're like, yo, man, come and have some whiskey. It's like, Then you can all get drunk together and just go around looking for Lenny and all that sort of stuff, you know.
And then it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then someone fires a bullet. And
and then it's a giant bar brawl.
And then you're like, you're on the chat to your mates. You're like, everyone get down here.
Yeah.
And then both the posses ride in. And
they bust through the saloon doors.
And then it just turns into chaos.
Yeah.
And then, like,
that would be so great.
The other thing, last main thing I want to talk about for multiplayer as well is kind of random, I guess, but is making money. In single player, actually, after you get to a certain point, it's actually quite hard to make money.
Right.
You can't rob banks.
No.
You can't rob trains in the same way of like there are like
busting
gold bars on there.
private.
Yeah. There's nothing like that, which is really odd. I thought was an odd thing to not have on single player. So online, I hope that trains are an active target that you and your posse, like in one of the first missions in this single player, you raid the train with your group. You stop the train, and then you have to take out the guards on it, and then you bust into the back bit.
Yeah,
you take the stuff.
The locked cart. Oh, sorry, carriage.
Yeah.
Cart. What do they call them?
Carriage. Yeah.
Carriage. Yeah. Into the locked carriage, which is otherwise inaccessible and doesn't exist in single player apart from that mission.
That mission. Yeah.
So I feel like either they cheaped out on that or they're saving that mechanic for a certain specific situation, such as multiplayer online missions or heists, dare I say.
Yeah, well, hopefully, because I'd love to be able to plan, maybe even unaided, like the heists in GTA were very much like...
Oh, they're very handheld.
Yeah, just be like, okay, there's a train, the train goes on this route. If we stopped it up here in the mountains, there are ways to stop it, or we need to jump on. If we jump on together, we stop the train, then 4 of us meet at a certain point, hold everyone up. Like, I hope there's that sort of level of ability to take control, because it permeates every other element of the game.
Yeah.
This sort of freedom to do what you want. And then in these sort of core parts of it, which are what the game's about, to a certain degree, you can't do anything, and it's odd. So
I feel like it would be a lot of fun to plan a heist with friends, and say for example, like me and you are working together with 2 others. I can be like, all right, Toby, I'm gonna go stop the train. I'm gonna focus on the train driver. I want you and whoever else to head on down to this last carriage. You take care of that. Meanwhile, our 4th person will go down the carriages and take care of all the wallets and purses and the NPCs, and we could.
Like 5th person watching.
Yeah, 5th person overlooking. Yeah, even that is just. It seems like it could be a lot of fun to do, and I hope they give us that freedom.
And then even that, if you took it one step further, and if that was happening, if there's another group of players in your lobby, it would tell them that the train is being robbed, and they can either go and help you or they can take your money.
Yeah.
Or after you've done the job for them, they can take the money from you. So you've got to get the money and you've got to get it back to your camp. And once you get it back to the camp, it's safe. And then you've got it completely safe. But until then, it's anyone's
game. Even though you did all the hard work, someone can come along and snipe you, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
And that is, I guess, that was the worry between posses back then in the Wild West, or at least in single player, like the feud between O'Driscolls and the Dutch Van der Linde gang.
Yeah.
I mean, even that mission where we robbed the train, that's because the O'Driscolls did all the legwork of getting the train's plans and, figuring out where it's going to be. So maybe it could be something like that. Maybe to plan a heist, you've got to pick up some plans somewhere, and even those plans could get intercepted.
I agree. That hopefully we see something like that introduced. Cool. Okay, so let's wrap that. We'll leave that there for the online. And we'll just wrap up here with a few of our sort of funny moments we've had with the game, because the horses are hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we'll sort of give our final thoughts on the game, although you probably can tell where we're going with this. But yeah. All right, so funny moments, because my lord, are there some hilarious horse goofs in this game.
So I've downloaded the game digitally, and it's 90 gigs or something thereabouts.
Almost 100.
Yeah. About that, and I've probably filled up the rest of my storage with shared clips that I've saved, because I thought, oh my god, that was good. I've got to show all my friends. And I have to keep trimming them down because I'm taking up too much space with all these clips. Even funny moments such as like how my horses die. Like
your horses died way too often.
Yeah, so I have a lot of horse deaths. Some of them my fault, like some of them not. If you can count fast travelling somewhere as my fault, because 3 times now this has happened to me where I've fast travelled using the train. So I've got on the train, I've bought the tickets, I'm like, let's go to Rig Station. So I've been playing it when I was offline as well. Like when I've not been streaming, I've been playing it.
Yeah.
So I'm on my way, I'm like, oh yeah, chilling, looking at the cinematic, and then camera pans out. But I've only been doing side missions. My horse is on the tracks. I'm like, what are you doing?
And you can't do anything.
I can't do anything. I can't, yeah, because I'm stuck in the cinematic. I'm on the train right now, so I'm like, move, boy. And he's not moving, and then my horse. Horse is on the ground. Sprint out. He's dead.
So I just love it because it's like he's like Arthur's just sitting there all calm on the train. He's like,
yeah.
And he like gets him really slowly, and he's like
the cinematic. Yeah. The cinematic has him standing up, and then there's me going, trying to sprint, and then he just legs it down the track. Where is he? Unfortunately, one time a horse died, and I had no horse survivor on me. So
actually died.
Yeah. So I had to reload my save. Can't believe I've done this. And I'd lost a little bit of progress, but I had the rare house. I had the rare Albanian house that I used to ride for miles. No, I had the rare horse I used to ride for miles.
Yeah.
Don't know why I keep saying for miles. But either way, I had this horse that I was unable to get again. And I thought, I've got to reload my save. And I lose some progress, but it's like, it's for my boy.
Yeah.
But, boy.
It's alright, girl.
Girl. But, so that's happened to me 3 times now. 2 times I managed to save him. Or it. No, sorry, 1 time I saved it, the other time he didn't die. But the amount of times my horse has decided he'd rather end it than ride another mile with me. Because the amount of rocks I hit, the amount of trees I hit, cliffs I fall off. I think he's sick of me, to be honest. Yeah. So what can you say really about that?
I've had a horse goof or 2. This was soul crushing. This was like day 2. The game had just come out, and I was like sprinting full pelt I was like, I'm going to ride up to the top of the mountains, snow mountains, and I'm going to explore it. And I'm like riding full pelt, and it's like, yeah, follow this path, it will be fine. And then like just suddenly it's a ravine. Like there's a huge drop, and there's a tiny wooden bridge. The only thing I can describe it as is, you know, in Shrek 1.
Yeah.
When they're at the castle,
going up to the dragon,
and there's that tiny wooden bridge. It's that, right? It's literally that. And my horse stops and flings me off, and I luckily land on the bridge. So at this point, I was like, whew. Thankfully, that went okay, and
it could have gone worse.
Could have gone worse. But that's So I was like, okay. And I didn't know what would happen if I tried to, because it done that. I was like, okay. It doesn't want me to ride my horse across this bridge. I was just like, I assume the game doesn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll lead the horse then. Surely it'll let me do that because we're just walking.
Yeah.
So the horse is already on the bridge at this point. And I didn't want to press triangle to get on it because I thought it might fling me off. So I pressed L2 and triangle to lead it. And at this point, the horse just goes, zip.
This way.
180s and walks off. And then it created this like invisible barrier between us. Yeah. So whenever I tried to walk towards it, it would push the horse and spin it away from me.
This way. Come on.
So it was like 2 magnets at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly the feeling I had on my controllers. I was moving and it was pushing the horse. So I had to get off the bridge. So in order to get off the bridge, I had to push my horse there. But then in order to turn around to get to the horse, I had to swivel the horse. And before I just realised what was happening as it was walking towards the edge of the... And I stopped and I was like, okay, thank God it didn't die. So I was like, if I just press triangle now, because walking's not going to do anything. If I just press triangle, maybe he'll run and jump on the horse. Yeah. And I did it, and he started doing it, and I was like, okay, good, this is gonna work.
Towards a horse. Yeah.
But my horse decided to start backstepping at this point, and I couldn't cancel.
He's coming.
And I couldn't cancel him getting off the horse. So I was like, I hope he just gets on in time, and I can ride away. And then as I start mounting the horse just goes like completely still on 4 legs. with no movement or animation, just goes like slides off the edge of the cliff, and then we both fall. And then so we've landed in the river. My horse cracks on the ground first, so it technically died like a millisecond before I died, which meant when my save reloaded, so when
you died, an autosave.
It auto-saved, reloaded, and I hadn't manually saved at that point, so my horse was dead. I mean, luckily it was only day 2 of playing, but I was crushed. So another thing I didn't know at this point was that you can go to the stable and reclaim your saddle. So my saddle's in the ravine, in the rapids, and I spend half an hour of my day just barrel rolling into the rapids and trying to press the right arrow at the right point so I can pick up the saddle
as you fly past it.
Yep. And I did half an hour trying to time it right, and I finally got it. Then I got back to the I found a random horse, rode it back to the stable, and I saw the retrieve saddle button there, and I was like,
the moment when you die inside.
Yeah, literally. And I was like, oh. So, I mean, apart from that, I haven't, aside from obviously just general calamities, riding into trees and stuff, I think I've actually been okay with horse goofs. But
I definitely haven't.
No, yours are, I can't believe.
In a similar vein to yours, when you rode near the cliff and almost fell off and got bucked off, I was sprinting up the side of a ravine. There's a ravine to my right and there's a cliff going up to my left, so I was on a very narrow path. I was talking to my stream chat, like just going,
some of the best horses you can get, you usually get off bounty hunters.
So in a way, like blah 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 blah. Suddenly I've hit something, I'm like, what's going on?
Oopsie daisy, oh no!
I look at the screen and then suddenly Arthur is barreling through the sky towards the edge of this cliff. I'm like, no! I land on the side of the cliff, start rolling, I'm like, gonna fall! Oh no! And then suddenly he's like, oh, okay. He gets up. Oh, buckles, falls down the ravine, like, I died. I'm like, oh no! I had to watch him back to realise there was another horse sideways on the track I bumped into and just flipped over, and I was... Funny moments, man. It cracks me up, and it just, even though some of them set you back a bit, it's a lot of fun.
It's so
experiencing.
Fun. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, and that online as well is going to be so funny. Imagine just crashing head onto your friend.
Yeah.
And just causing them chaos.
Or riding a wagon and driving towards a cliff and jumping off, letting it barrel with all the horses on it.
Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be great.
So much goodness to come.
Yeah. So much potential.
Alright, well, thanks for discussing Red Dead Redemption 2 with me.
Right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that it's one of our favourite games of all time at the moment. And yeah, I mean, this wasn't really supposed to be a review. This was just sort of, in some ways, we were reviewing the game to an extent. We were looking back
sharing our
thoughts. Yeah, because I think to give it a score or whatever, it's, doesn't...
It's arbitrary. It's very subjective anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we all have high thoughts, high expectations of online, and a score, which is basically saying, yeah. But, I mean, we say that anyway.
Yeah, and it's also, without the online release, it'd be unfair to give it a score per se. So
it's still an unfinished game, I'd say.
It's just talking about it because of how revolutionary it is and like innovative. Because some people have said, it's just The Witcher, but in the West, or it's just GTA but with horses, is underselling this game by a mile. Like it's something else. Like until there's no review or any, like this video is an hour long. We haven't even touched on hardly any of what actually goes on in this game.
We could do another hour and I could say completely different stuff and we'd have a completely different conversation.
Exactly. There's so much to this game that it'd be unfair to summarize it in like a 5-10 minute video, other than just saying, whatever you think, however good you think it's going to be, is better.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to summarize this game. And I'm still playing it and I'm still being blown away by it every day. It's
completed the story, completed the epilogue, and I'm still putting hours and hours into just blackjack.
Yeah.
I'm trying to unlock all the gambler challenges, and it's taken a long time, but I'm putting hours into the game even after I completed it. Completed it.
Yeah.
but there's just so much potential and opportunities to do things that you enjoy in there.
Exactly. Well, after online comes out, maybe you'll come back and we'll have another one of these videos talking about online, and we can share our funny stories.
Funny stories on online,
Anyway, thanks so much for watching. This was the first video on my channel that was like this, like a long form, almost podcast video, I'd say. It was really fun to do. If you do want to see more of this, then let me know. It's really fun having ShoreTea here. As I say, all his links will be in the description down below, so do make sure you go and check him out and watch his streams, because they're hilarious, and you'll get to see all of those horse goofs that we were talking about saved on his Twitch channel. So go check him out. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure that you hit subscribe for more content like this, or maybe not more content like this, but just more content with me in it, and sometimes with ShoreTea as well coming up if we do have any Red Dead Redemption videos. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, that's the one. And there is a link to my Patreon in the description below if you do want to head over and help support the channel. But for now, that's it. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me again. Thanks for watching. And I hope you stick around on this channel and find out more about our thoughts on Red Dead and every other game that we get into, or even you just get into and do your own videos on.
That is it.
I love watching ROBOTBOY's reviews on every game he plays: No Man's Sky, Red Dead Redemption, Just Cause 4. I'm sure he's going to do a lot of videos on that as well, so do stick around.
Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.
Awesome.